to my next tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be making a threaded bolt. And there are lots of different ways, different styles of bolts, and you can go to Google and Google bolts and look at some of the different styles. We're just going to go with something pretty simple today. The main thing I wanted to show was how the threads are made. Now we're going to do that by going up here to the Lines tab, selecting the helix, and we're going to hold the Shift key and click, and then we're going to bring our helix out all about here or so, and then I'm going to hit the space bar twice so it locks my motion in the y-axis. I'm going to bring my helix up to about here, and then I'm going to click, and over here in the properties I'm going to give that helix about 20 slices and hit enter. Okay, and let's go ahead and validate that. Now we're going to zoom in, and we're going to hold our control key and drag in the Y direction. And what we want to do is bring this edge up close to this bottom edge, because we're going to weld those all together here in a little bit. But before I do that, we're going to get this curve out of the way. We're going to hide it. Okay, we've hit our curve, and now we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in really close, so hopefully you'll be able to see this. But this, I've got this edge still selected here, and I'm going to drag it up just as really close to this other edge. As you can see, those are pretty close. And once you get them close, then we're going to go up here to the Vertex Modeling tab, and we're going to select Average Weld. And one thing I like to do, if you have a number here in the distance, I always like to enter a 0 before I do that, because there's been a couple of times when I had a number in there and I started increasing that number and it collapsed all my geometry. So we're going to go ahead and average weld this, and usually you'll see, if you look over here, you'll see though that went ahead and welded those edges together. Before we validate, we want to go over here and look and make sure it looks like this, because there's been a couple of times I did it and I had some edges that just didn't look right. So let's go ahead and validate that, and you can see that right here we're going to need to weld some points together. So let's go ahead and under the Vertex Modeling tab, which is Weld Points, and then we're going to click here, and then we're going to click here and validate. And we're also going to do that down at the bottom of our geometry, which now it's actually a cylinder. Okay, weld points, click here, and validate. And yep, that's what we're looking for. Now, as you can see, we are in the edge mode up here, so we're going to go ahead and click this edge that runs all the way around our bolt or cylinder here, and we're going to loop it. And then we need to go up here and deselect this edge and deselect this edge down here. And now we're going to use the Extract Around tool, and we're still in the Vertex Modeling tab, and we'll click on the Edges Tools, and we're going to click right here on Extract Around, and we can kind of zoom in here. And what we want to do when we start extracting this around, we want to get those two edges close together. You can see this edge on these two edges right here are really close together, and that's what we're looking for. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and select that center edge again and hit loop again. Deselect the same edges that we deselected before, and that looks good. Now with that center edge selected there, we're going to come up here and select our scale manipulator tool, and I'm going to zoom in here so you can see which little box I'm going to grab. And here on our widget, we're going to grab this box right here. It's in the bottom left, and then we're going to just pull it down, and as you can see, we're starting to make our threads there. They don't need to go out real far. Anyway, let's go ahead and hit the U key or click up here on the universal manipulator again. As you can see, we've got our threads going here. But, this top edge here, we need to go ahead and flatten that out in the Y direction. So we're going to select the edge right there and then loop. Okay. And there's a couple of different ways we can do this. We can either grab this box on our widget up here in the Y direction and do it this way until it looks even, or we can do it in easier ways. If you can see, watch over here as I pull that box up and down. This is the Y right here. You can see that. We're going to go move it. You can see. And we want that to be 0, so instead of moving our box over here, we're just going to click right there in the Y, 0, and then enter. And now as you can see, that edge is flat. And we want to do that down at the bottom also. So click that edge and loop. We're going to go back over here into the size, hit 0, and enter in the Y. Okay, well, let's go ahead and close this off. Now up here in the Vertex Modeling tab, you can use the Close tool, or you can use the hotkey, which is Shift C, and that's what I like to do. So that's what I'm going to do. And I went ahead and closed it up there. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go to face mode. Let me turn